Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If Guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the movie of What If Serious Issei became the ultimate pawn. Now before starting, please give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Issei is kneeling next to a blonde foreigner. She looks as if she's sleeping peacefully, but if you look closer, you would notice that she is not breathing. Asia, Issei thought, not again. I've failed you. I promised I would save you, but I still can't do anything right. This is no different from back then. I'm not strong enough to do anything. How could I ever think that I could become the ultimate pawn? Tears are flowing freely from his eyes while a hand clenches at his heart. How touching. The low-class devil fell for the holy maiden. A voice speaks out from behind him. Issei's eyes widen in anger and he slowly stands up. What are you going to do now? You've lost. She's dead. The voice mocks him. You can't stop me now. I'm invincible with my new twilight healing. Wringer, Issei sneers out, his body shaking in rage. A red gauntlet appears on his left hand and spreads up to his elbow, the jewel on the back of his hand glowing brightly. I don't want some low-class trash saying my name, she tells him arrogantly before manifesting a light spear. Any last words? Issei turns around and starts stalking towards her, slowly swaying from side to side as if in a trance. Boost! An eerie voice calls out and echoes around the church, making it impossible to pinpoint. Wringer looks around for whoever is speaking. Who's there? Come out so I can kill you as well, she arrogantly yells. Boost! The voice calls out again. Stop hiding. Boost! Wringer starts looking back and forth nervously, not noticing Issei's aura increasing in strength. Boost! You took her from me. You killed Asia. I can never forgive you. She only wanted a friend. Boost! She just wanted to stop being lonely. Issei mutters, barely able to be heard. Boost! I'll kill you. Issei roars out and gives a death glare to Wringer. Boost! Explosion! Issei disappears from in front of Wringer, making her eyes widen. Before she can move to defend herself, she feels a fist collide with her face. She smashes into the wall and slides down to the floor. As she is attempting to stand back up, she notices a foot coming at her before darkness floods her vision. Ria's POV. Dear Mao, was that really Issei? Ria thinks while watching him repeatedly kick and punch an unconscious and why Wringer. Issei, stop. She can't even defend herself. She calls out to him. He slowly turns away from Wringer to stare at Ria's, making her flinch from the lifeless sight of his eyes. Reset. Asia couldn't defend herself either, he states bluntly. He turns back to keep hitting Wringer. Kaneko, stop Issei. A white blur tackles Issei and pins him to the floor. Issei, I can save Asia, but you need to stop this. His eyes snap to Ria's with hope. Please, but you. Save Asia, I beg of you. I'll do anything, he pleads desperately. Ria's nods and walks over to Wringer and wakes her up. Fallen angel Wringer, this is the end. Do you have any last words? Ria's asks her arrogantly. Wringer stares at Issei in fear and shakes her head shakily. Ria's forms a ball of destruction and makes her explode, leaving behind Asia's twilight healing. Let's return this to the rightful owner. She walks towards Asia and slides the rings on her fingers and puts a bishop piece on her chest. Asia Argento, in the name of Ria's Gremory, I command you to be reborn. Return as my servant and live your life for me, she chants. The bishop fuses into Asia and her eyes slowly open. Is this heaven? She asks softly, looking around before spotting Issei. Issei, did you die too? She shouts out with tears coming to her eyes. No, Issei isn't dead, and neither are you. I revived you as a devil in my peerage. Rias explains. Let him up, Kaneko. Issei runs to Asia and hugs her, crying tears of joy. I'm so sorry, Asia. I failed you, but I promise I will never fail you again. Issei swears between his sobs. Asia smiles and rubs his back. You didn't fail me, Issei. I'm here, so there's nothing to worry about, she exclaims happily. Ria smiles fondly and leaves them to themselves. A few days later, the Occult Research Club's members besides Issei and Asia are meeting together. Is Issei going to be okay? Akino asks worriedly. Issei passed out earlier and was brought home to sleep. Asia is currently tending to his wounds. He'll be fine by tomorrow. He just overworked himself. Ria's answered calmly. How can we get him to tone it down though? I don't think we can. He's put himself into his training as hard as he can. His workout is extreme. Kiba states. Issei has been running until he collapses every day, rests for a short while, and starts doing push-ups, sit-ups and pull-ups until his arms give out before going back to running until he collapses again. He has been repeating this process over and over for 6 days straight. His only breaks in this are school, food and sleep. He's even stopped peeking on the kendo club. Senpai is going to hurt himself, Kaneko states while eating her sweets. Perhaps we should take Issei and Asia to get familiars to take his mind off of training for a while. Rias wonders aloud. Issei's dream. I'm getting stronger, but it's not enough. How can I protect Asia and the others if a little pain stops me? Issei berates himself. I'm useless the way I am. That you are partner. A deep voice booms out from nowhere. Who are you? Issei shouts out. I am the spirit trapped in your sacred gear, boosted gear, D-Drag. The Red Dragon Emperor. The Sekryute. The voice booms proudly. We can finally talk. You have grown stronger, but as you said, it is not enough. The White One will soon appear as well, and you are destined to fight each other. Issei scoffs. I don't care about this White One. I only want to be able to protect my friends. Issei says determined. What is the boosted gear though? I thought it was a twice critical. He asks confused. Drake bursts out laughing. Foolish child. The boosted gear is a Longinus. It has the ability to match God if the user is strong enough. I am one of the 2 Heavely dragons. Match a god. Does that mean if I master boosted gear that I can protect my friends? Easily, partner. The Longinus are the 13 most powerful sacred gears in existence. Will you help me master your boosted gear then, D-Drag? I will do what I can. But unless we find a powerful dragon willing to help you train, we may have slow progress. Only a dragon can train another dragon after all. How would I go about finding a dragon? He asks desperately. I'm unsure what happened to Tannen, Fafnir, Midgardsamur and Yulong. Vritra was sealed after a rampage if my memories remain from my last hosts, and Tiamat hides herself out in the familiar forest. She hates me though, so she probably wouldn't help. We'll figure that out later though. For now you need to get stronger. Once you unlock Balance Breaker, the sealed state of a sacred gear, I will be able to help you more. How do I unlock Balance Breaker? You must get a lot stronger. Once you get strong enough, a turning point in your life will release the seal holding you from Balance Breaker. But first, you must get stronger. Then I will kick up my workout. I'm not pushing myself hard enough. I have to protect everyone. The next day, the orc is watching Issei do his workout, which seems he made it even more insane. Right now he is running around the track with a boulder tied to his back. Issei, come over here. Rias calls out. Issei runs over to her and starts doing squats with the boulder still on his back, making Rias angry. What do you need, Bachu? He asks her. Why are you pushing yourself so hard? She yells at him. You're just going to end up hurting yourself. I'm not strong enough. I need to get stronger. D-Drag said I'm nowhere near strong enough to unlock my Balance Breaker yet, so I can't slack off. Ria's eyes widen. Balance Breaker. Who told you about that? And who is D-Drag? Issei is still doing squats. D-Drag is the dragon in my sacred gear. He called himself the Sekiryute. Everyone in her peerage eyes widen. Your sacred gear is the boosted gear. Ria screams in shock. No wonder it took all my pawns to revive you. How did I not realize this yet? She shakes her head to clear her thoughts that's irrelevant. You're going to kill yourself with this workout of yours if you keep it up. Take a rest and relax some. We're all worried about you, Issei. Everyone's head's not agreeing with her. We're going to the familiar forest in a couple of days to get you and Asia familiar. Just relax until after we get back, okay? She begs him. Issei's eyes light up and a wide smile appears on his face. Familiar forest, you say? Great. There's someone there that I want to meet. Everyone looks confused and he turns to walk away. I'll relax until after we get back because you asked, but then I'm going back to training. He heads home after untying the boulder. Who do you think he wants to meet in the familiar forest? Rias. Aquino asks. I'm not sure. Hopefully he doesn't do something stupid though. Next day, Orc. The Orc are discussing about heading to the familiar forest the next day when the student council walks in. Hello, Rias in her peerage. The president calls out. Hello, Sona. What brings you here? We were just discussing going to the familiar forest tomorrow. Rias responds. That's unfortunate. I was planning on going tomorrow as well. The familiar master only allows 1 peerage per month to go. So how shall we settle this? Wait, Kaichu is a devil as well. Issei asks. The blonde-haired boy on the student council scoffs. Shows what you know. Did you think you were the only devils in this school? I guess Rias doesn't trust you to let you know inside info. He says arrogantly. Be quiet, Saji. It's only natural he doesn't know yet, as he is still new to being a devil. Sona explains. This is Sona Citri, the heir of the Citri clan. I'm Saji Genshuru, Kaichu's pawn. Saji states. Oh, cool. I'm a pawn too, Issei says excitedly. Maybe we can get together and talk about how we can use our pieces to our advantage. TCH, like I'd waste my time with you. I took up 4 pawns, you probably only took up 1. He says mockingly. You want to fight? Issei yells out at him. Let's do it. Saji accepts. Stand down, Saji, you can't beat him. Sona says calmly. Are you saying he's stronger than me, Kaichu? He asks heatedly. Yes, Issei Hayato took up 8 pawn pieces. She explains. He also apparently does an insane workout while you are lazy. 8? Isn't that all of them? How is this pervert worth so many pawn pieces? He asks flabbergasted. He is this generation's Sekiryute. He wields the Longinus boosted gear. Anyways, can't you wait until next month to get familiars, Sona? I'd like to get Issei and Asia their familiars tomorrow. Rias asks politely. Why should I let you? I have older members of my peerage that have yet to get their familiars yet as well. She demands. Please, let us go tomorrow, Kaichu. There's someone I need to find in the familiar forest. Issei begs her. Sona looks at him confused. Who would you need to find in that forest? The forest is mainly full of monsters and beasts, not many that can make conversation. I'd like to know as well, partner. I hope it's not who I think it is. D-Drag speaks up from Issei's left hand. Everyone looks at his hand in surprise. D-Drag, you can talk to me outside of my dreams. Issei asked, ignoring the question. You've become strong enough to contact me now, so we can converse at any time. Now who do you want to meet in that forest? You better not be talking about her, remember, she hates me. She is more likely to kill you than help you. D-Drag states, confusing the others. If I don't try though, who knows when I'll have another chance. Issei retorts. Do you have a death wish, partner? Who are you talking about? Rias asks. Tiamat. D-Drag answers, shocking everyone present. You want to find the Chaos Karma Dragon? Rhea screams out. Why? Because D-Drag told me the only way I can get stronger is if I have a powerful dragon train me. Only a dragon can train another dragon. This might be my only chance to meet one for who knows how long. Your reason is to search for a dragon king. Sona asks incredulously. Why does Tiamat hate you, D-Drag? I'm not really sure. I forgot the reason. So can you allow us to go this month, Kaichu? I'll do anything for you if you'll allow us to go tomorrow. Issei gets on his knees and begs. Sona takes off her glasses and rubs the bridge of her nose while sighing. Very well. I'll back off for now. But remember, you owe me, she says and leaves the orc with the student council. Issei, I can't allow you to search out a dragon king. Rhea exclaims. Please, Butchu. I need the help of a dragon. This may be my only chance. Issei begs. Rhea chews on her thumb nervously while looking at the rest of her peerage. Issei will pay her a visit, but you will be respectful. She is the most powerful dragon king. Do not upset her. Issei nods and gets determined. I can't fail them anymore. I must get stronger. Familiar forest, next day. The members of the orc are fidgeting nervously waiting for the familiar master to show up and lead them to Tiamat, while Issei is worrying about whether she will kill him flat out or help him. Hello, young devils. A voice calls out from a tree, making them all look up. I am Satoji from Madara Town, a devil in training aiming to become the familiar master. This sounds familiar for some reason. Issei thought. Do you guys have any idea what kind of familiar you are looking for, or are you looking for recommendations? Satoji asks. Rhea steps forward and smiles. We would like you to lead us to where Tiamat is currently residing. Can you manage that? She asks him. Satoji breaks out in a nervous sweat. The Chaos Karma Dragon? Hey, I know where she resides, but are you sure? You still have much to live for after all. He responds. We're sure. We've tried talking Issei out of it, but he refuses to listen. Rhea sighs. Very well, I'll show you where she resides, but you're on your own after that. The group is currently standing outside of a massive cave deep inside of the forest. An overwhelming presence makes everyone break out in a cold sweat. D-Drag, a voice roars out from inside of the cave. I told you that I never want to see your face again. A massive blue western dragon walks out of the cave and looks around. Where are you? Don't bother hiding, I can sense that you are here. Tiamat, D-Drag is still sealed. I'm the current possessor of the boosted gear. Issei tells her politely. She looks down at him and narrows her eyes at her and then looks at Asia. So you brought a dragon tamer with you. Were you hoping that would save your life from me, vessel of D-Drag? She asks, confusing everyone present. Dragon tamer. What do you mean, Tiamat? Rhea asks her. Don't play dumb with me, girl. I can feel this girl's aura. She feels like dragon fruit. She turns back to Issei and narrows her eyes. Now what do you want, vessel of D-Drag? Answer me before I kill you. Tiamat, I've come to request your help. D-Drag told me that only a dragon can train another dragon. Is there anything I could do for you to help me become stronger? Issei asks her. Tiamat growls at him. D-Drag, did you really bring your host here hoping I would train him to defeat the White One? Tiamat roars out. That feud between you two damned heavily dragons needs to end already. Issei gets annoyed at her. I do not care about the White One. Issei screams, surprising Tiamat. I don't even know who the White One is, and I don't care who it is either way. Tiamat leans down face to Issei. Then why is it that you are here, child? What is your purpose of seeking me out? She asks him. If I'm not satisfied with your reason, I will kill you. Now answer me. Tiamat. D-Drag tries to talk but gets cut off. Shut up, D-Drag. I'm talking to your host, not you. I have sought you out because I need your help. I'm too weak, I can't protect my friends, I even got one killed because of my weakness. Issei drops to his knees and bows to her. Please, I beg of you, Tiamat. Help me become stronger. Torture me, assault me, tear my body apart. I don't care. Just please help me. Tiamat's eyes widen. Issei, why are you killing yourself so much over what happened? Rhea thinks sadly. Why do you bow to me, boy? A dragon's pride is all that we have, yet you throw it away with such ease. Tell me why. Your natural instincts must be screaming at you. Because my pride is useless. He answers, surprising Tiamat again. So far all that pride has gotten me is my friends' hurt. If it means being able to help my friends, I'll gladly throw out any pride I have. For what reason should I help you, boy? You're the host of D-Drag. Surely he warned you that I would kill you for that lone fact, correct? He did warn me, but I don't care. If killing me will make you feel better, then go ahead. At least in death I won't bring harm to my friends. Issei states with no hesitation, surprising everyone. Tiamat brings her hand up, preparing to attack Issei. Wait, Tiamat, why is it that you hate D-Drag so much? Rhea asks her. Tiamat narrows her eyes at Rhea. This has nothing to do with you, girl. But if you must know, D-Drag killed my mate while he was fighting the White One before he got sealed. Tiamat snarls out. Those two dragons don't care what they destroy or who they hurt, so long as they get to fight each other. Issei closes his eyes and sighs in defeat. It seems there will be no way for me to convince you to help me then. If it will satisfy you, feel free to take my life in exchange for your mates. Issei turns to the orc group and smiles softly at them. I'm sorry, it looks like I won't be able to protect any of you after all. I've broken my promise to you again, Asia. He turns around, not noticing Asia and Rhea's crying. Go ahead, Tiamat, but please allow my friends to leave safely afterwards. He walks to his death and even asks for us to be spared. Senpai, why do I have to be so afraid of myself? Kaneko cries out in her head, clenching her fists. Tell me something first, child. What would you do if the white one appeared in front of you right now? She asks Issei seriously. He'd fight. Diedraig roars out. It's an art to fight each other, nothing can stop that. Shut the hell up, Diedraig. You've ruined enough lives with that war between the two of you. Tiamat roars at him before turning back to Issei. Answer my question. It depends on what he or she did. Issei answered, and Tiamat's eyes narrow. If they threatens my friends, I will fight. If they want to be a friend, I will be their friend. Fighting just to hurt someone else. There's no reason in it. I said it before, the only thing that I want is to protect my friends. Nothing else. Tiamat bursts out laughing. Tell me your name, child. She commands him. Issei Hayaodu. Very well. Issei Hayaodu, I shall become your familiar and train you, but if you ever gain Diedraig's battle mania, I will kill you where you stand. Tiamat turns to a shell-shocked Rias as her body starts shrinking. Teach him how to form a familiar contract, girl. Tiamat's voice becomes more feminine as her body turns into the form of a human. She now stands a few inches taller than Kaneko and has deep blue hair and wearing a sky blue kimono. Her body is more developed than Asia's, but not by much. Her skin is smooth and has the impression of scales all over. She looks up in a tree and spots something. Oh, a young sprite dragon. Usually they avoid my territory. You must have a lot of potential, dragon tamer. Is that the best you can do, Issei? Tiamat taunts him. I thought you wanted to get stronger. Why are you being lazy? Issei is sitting against a tree breathing heavily while glaring at her. Asia is sitting off to side watching intently while playing with Rasei. Rasei is the sprite dragon she made her familiar. She named him Rasei because he uses lightning, and I wanted to name him after Issei as well. Give me a minute, you damn dragon. I don't have the energy to keep going forever. HMPH. What happened to all that determination to getting stronger? Did you forget your promise to protect your friends already? Or did it mean so little to you? She asked with a smirk on her face. Issei freezes and he slowly stands back up. You're right, I don't have the time to lay about. Let's continue. He charges Tiamat only to get backhanded away again. Is the weight too much for you or something? You're moving so slow it's pathetic. Tiamat enchanted his clothes to weigh more so he will always be gaining strength. His clothes weigh about 150 pounds in total right now. She upgraded the weight earlier this morning. It's been a month since they returned from the familiar forest, where she immediately gave him the weighted clothes at 75 pounds at first. She gets Issei up at 3 in the morning every day to exercise before school, and is waiting for him as soon as the school bell rings to continue. I can make it lighter for you if you can't handle it. She teases him. No, the weight is fine. I'll get used to it. He responds while getting to his feet again. Good, then let's continue already. She smirks and gets in a fighting stance. At the orc room, Rias is sitting at her desk rubbing her temples. Dragons are insane. I know it. They are just plain insane. Akino chuckles next to her holding a kettle of tea. At least she is holding back on his training like you asked. You call that holding back? He was a human a little over a month ago. Rias asks angrily. Don't worry so much, Rias. Tiamat won't kill him, at least if Diedraig keeps his mouth shut she won't. She says, and Rias pales. I still can't believe how badly she beat Issei that day. She really hates Diedraig. A couple of weeks ago Diedraig taunted on Tiamat being too soft on Issei in their training. Tiamat immediately exploded in rage and beat Issei near to death, and since then has made their training sessions even harder. If it wasn't for Asia's twilight healing, Issei would have died that day. Have you seen Kaneko much lately, Rias? Akino asks with a finger on her chin. She seems to go home early every day now and comes to school looking exhausted. I haven't seen her very much, I'm getting worried about her. She isn't the most sociable, but she used to at least stick around. Rias comments with a sigh before hearing a massive explosion outside. Issei, Asia yells out. Rias and Akino sigh again. Diedraig is going to get Issei killed. They both thought at the same time. Good morning, Butchu. Kiba says as he walks in the room. Is Diedraig taunting Tiamat again? Probably. He doesn't learn his lesson. She answers. At least his training is having good results. He couldn't even use the magic circle when he started out. That's true, he's even completing contracts now. Akino responds. Tiamat is a good influence for him, even if she goes overboard more often than not. Another explosion in the background goes off, making them all chuckle to themselves. During class, Issei, why haven't you been hanging out with us lately? Matsuda exclaims, walking up to his desk. Is it because you got the blonde beauty living with you now that we're not worth your time anymore? Asia moved in with Issei the night after they left the familiar forest. Rias called it marriage training, and Issei parents were overjoyed thinking he finally found a girl that will put up with him. It has nothing to do with that. I've just got more important things to do than peep and watch porn with you two. He answers flatly, shocking most of the students. Did Issei of all people say he has more important things to do than be a pervert? One of them whispered. What do you think he's doing? Another whispered back. I'm not sure, but have you noticed he's starting to bulk up? I think he's been working out. More whispers break out across the room of similar comments. What could possibly be more important than our peeping? Madohama yells out. The girls in the class glare at him. Plenty of things are more important, Madohama. Issei calmly replies and pulls out a book and starts reading. Ri has told him a devil should know more about the history and customs of the 3 factions, so he has been studying about the 72 pillars and the war in his spare time. Will you 2 quiet down? You're disturbing the rest of the class, Kuryuueki states while walking towards the 3. Shut it, Kuryuu. You don't understand the passion of being a man. Matsuda yells out. It's all about finding that paradise that is hidden from our eyes. Issei sweat drops and looks to Kuryuu. Was I really that bad? He asks and notices everyone in the room nodding their heads. Well, damn. Glad I gave that stuff up, he says before going back to his book, not noticing the shocked looks on his friends' faces. Gave, Matsuda says stunned. It up, Madohama finishes. Blasphemous. They both shout out. You don't just give up on your desires. Someone has corrupted you, Issei. Matsuda yells. We must save him. Matsuda, we must drag him to your house and re-educate him tonight. The 2 perverts lean in close and whisper their plan to convert Issei back to the perverts. It's not like I don't have any desires anymore, but getting beat half to death every single day changes your priorities a little. Issei thinks while trying to ignore the 2 as class starts. Lunchtime, cafeteria. Have you heard? Apparently Issei quit being a pervert. A few students were whispering to each other. I don't believe that yet. It must be some plan of his to catch us all off guard. Another comments. What do you think happened to him? Maybe he finally got a girlfriend. Do you think it's Asia? She is living with him after all. Who knows, maybe he's just finally growing up. None of them notice Kades and Murayama look at each other before leaving the cafeteria. I'll figure out your plan, they both thought. With Issei is sitting against a tree reading while eating his lunch that Asia made for him. So the current Mao are Surzech Lucifer, Ajuka Beelzebub, Falbium Asmodeus, and Seraphol Leviathan. Hey Issei, Kades calls out to him, making him look up. What do they want? Hi Kades, Murayama. How can I help you? He asks with a small smile. We were just wondering where you've been quiet lately. We miss beating you up, Murayama answers. Issei smiles, disappears, and looks confused. I've been busy. I don't plan on peeking on the kendo club anymore, so you don't need to beat me up anymore. What? Are we not good enough for you to peek at now? Kades asks with a smirk while leaning down towards him, showing her cleavage. It's not that, but I have more important things to do than waste my time peeping on you women. He answers calmly. I thought you'd be happy without me peeping on you 2 anymore. We are, it just seems weird. You are the incarnation of beastly desires. What happened to you, Issei? Murayama asks. Am I really worrying about that? I got my priorities straight, that's all. If that's all you need, class is about to start up again. See ya. Issei packs up and leaves 2 shocked girls standing there. Kades, what happened to the perverted beast? Murayama asks. I'm not sure, but this is a good thing, right? It's not like it's because he thought we're not good enough to look at anymore or anything. Kades says in a small voice. Maybe the Issei we used to know is back now. Kades asks hopefully. Murayama's eyes widen when she hears that. Do you think so? After that incident in middle school, he just started being an extreme pervert, pushing everyone he cared about away. Do you think he finally found his resolve again? Murayama asks while they both watch Issei walk away. I hope so, she answers simply. He wouldn't believe us when we told him it wasn't his fault. He thought we were pitying him. He just seemed to have given up. Kades firms her resolve and looks at Murayama. I don't know about you, but if the old Issei is back, I'll be supporting him all the way, she says with no hesitation. Murayama nods. It's the only reason we kept up with kendo after all. We can't let him go through something like that alone again. Murayama answers back heatedly. You won't be alone anymore, Issei. After school, Issei is found outside the old school building talking to a blue-haired woman. Who's that? I've never seen her before. Kades thought. Hey Issei, you got a minute? Kades calls out to him. She is wearing her kendo clothes and is about to head to practice. You're not here to ask why I'm not being a pervert again, are you? He asks with narrowed eyes, making her blush in embarrassment. Sorry about that. We thought you were planning something to catch us off guard. Fine. So what do you need, Kades? Issei asks with a smile. I was wondering if you wanted to spar, just like old times. I haven't heard of you picking up a shinai lately, so I wanted to know if you still got the same skill you used to. She notices Issei looking nervous and mentally kicks herself. That's right, he hasn't touched a shinai since that incident. I'd love to, but Issei trails off trying to think of an excuse. Go ahead, Issei, I didn't know you knew how to wield a sword. It's a useful skill to have, you should keep in practice. The blue-haired girl speaks up from next to him. We can continue your lessons tomorrow. She walks into the old schoolhouse and leaves the 2 alone. What lessons is she teaching you? Kades asks in suspicion. She's been teaching me how to fight properly. Martial arts if you want to think of it that way. He responds, making Kades's eyes widen. So he really is back. That's great. I'm sure you'll do great in it. Kades says happily. So how about we go have a spar? Let's see if you can still beat me like you used to. I've gotten a lot better in the last few years. Issei nods nervously and they head to the kendo room together. As soon as they enter, the rest of the room explodes. Why is that beast here? I knew he was planning something, but this. One of the other members shouts out. Be quiet. Kades yells back at her. I invited him here for a spar. Issei knows kendo. That's ridiculous. He's just a pervert. Another exclaims. Kades ignores her and walks up to the rack of shinai and tosses one to him. He catches it and looks at it and starts shaking slightly. Issei, are you alright? Cadiz asks worriedly. Issei shakes himself to clear his thoughts. I'm fine, don't worry about me, he says while getting in his starting position while Cadiz gets in hers. What stance is that? I've never seen that stance before. Some of the club members whisper in confusion about Issei's stance. He's holding the shinai in one hand in a reverse grip with the tip facing the floor at an angle and his hand up high. His free hand hanging freely behind him and his knees bent staring straight at Cadiz. So you still use that old stance, huh? She asks with a small smile. Ready? He nods and they both launch at each other, their shinai smacking against each other over and over. To the crowd they look to be dancing. Suddenly Issei grabs Cadiz's wrist and spins behind her holding her wrist against her back and his shinai to her neck. Why you lose again, Cadiz? Issei says with a stutter before dropping his shinai and looking at his hands that are shaking. Stop shaking, you damn hands. I have to move past that. I can't let it hang over my head forever. He breaks from his thoughts when Cadiz puts a hand on his shoulder and gives him a sad smile. It'll be alright, Issei, it won't happen again. I won't let it. Issei's eyes widen and start tearing up. Cadiz pulls him into a hug and lets him cry into her shoulder. The rest of the club members are watching in shock, equal parts as her losing, and that Cadiz is comforting Issei before Murayama steps in front of him. That's enough. Stop watching. Practice is cancelled today. Go home, Murayama tells them while pushing them out of the club room before looking back with a sad smile. I hope you can move on, Issei. She wouldn't want to see you like this. Issei ending up crying into Cadiz's shoulder for the next hour before finally stopping. He stepped back and gave her a bright smile, the first she's seen him have in years. Hopefully that fake smile of his is gone for good now. She thought, thank you, Cadiz. I needed that. He tells her happily. She smiles slyly at him. Which part? The shoulder to cry on, or my body that you were clinging to? She teases him. He scratches the back of his head and laughs. Maybe both, who knows? He winks at her, causing her to laugh as well. Her laughing stops and she gets a serious expression. Are you really back, Issei? We missed the real you know. Yeah, I'm back, Cat. He answers using her old nickname. I've found something worth protecting again. I won't let anything happen this time, he says with a small fire burning in his eyes. You're welcome to come for a spar anytime you want. Murayama and I would love to have someone who can actually beat us to spar with again. Thanks, I'd like that. I should be heading home though. I'll talk to you later, Cat. They both leave and head home, with Cadiz having a happy smile on her face the whole way home. At Issei's house. I'm home, he calls out. Welcome home, dear. How was your day? His mother asks him. I had a great day, Mom, he says with a bright smile, shocking his mother. I'll be back. I have to grab something from the basement. He heads downstairs, leaving his parents baffled. What do you think he's going to get, hun? She asks her husband. I'm not sure. I'm just glad we can see his smile once again. He answers with a smile. Hey Dad, do you know where my old maintenance kit is? Issei asks as he walks through the door carrying his old sword, making both of his parents' eyes widen. I am not sure. I can pick you up a new one tomorrow while you're at school if you want, Issei. He responds in shock. Thanks, Dad. I'll be in my room if you need me, he says while waving over his shoulder at his parents. Hun, what just happened? His mother asks, still in shock. I don't know. I thought he'd never touch that sword again. The next morning. Good morning, Bachu. Issei and Asia call out while walking in the club room. Issei is carrying a sword with him. Is Tiamat here yet? No, she's not here yet. She should be here soon though. She notices the sword in his hand. Why do you have a sword? Do you know how to wield one? She asks him. Yeah, I haven't practiced in a few years though, so I figured I could use the practice. Issei answers with a bright smile. Ria's and Akino's eyes widen at that, while Asia smiles happily besides him. I've never seen him look so happy before. Did something happen yesterday? Ria's thought. He seems like he's in a good mood today. Akino thought. Is there something on my face? Issei asks while using his sleeve to wipe his face. No, nothing. You just seem to be a very good mood today. Did something exciting happen? Ria's asks him. Did you get laid? Akino asks with a perverted grin, making Issei and Ria's blush while Asia looks confused. No, it's not that. I guess I just finally found peace. Issei answers with a small smile with glazed over eyes as if he was thinking of something. Ria's and Akino look confused but don't ask when Tiamat appears out of nowhere. You ready, Issei? She asks and notices his sword and smirks. So you brought something else for me to increase the weight of? She asks and Issei pales before handing it to her to enchant and nodding without hesitation. They head off for training. Bachu? Asia asks. Tiba walks in at this time and sits down on the couch and grabs a cup of tea. Yes, Asia. What's laid mean? She asks innocently. Akino bursts out laughing at Ria's embarrassed face, while Kiba spits out his tea. Maybe you should ask Mr. and Mrs. Hayatu about that. She answers with a bright red face. Asia nods and follows after Issei and Tiamat. I hope Issei's parents forgive me for leaving that to them, Ria's mutters to herself. It's almost that time, isn't it, Ria's? Akino asks, suddenly serious. Yes, I don't see why they won't back off. She sighs and stares off into space. In class, Issei is taking a short nap at his desk before school starts. Cadiz comes running into the room with Murayama walking behind her. Good morning, Issei. Cadiz calls out and he slowly wakes up. Mornin' cat, Issei mumbles out while rubbing his eyes. Good morning, Issei, Murayama says politely. Good morning, Mura, he says with a smile. How are you two this morning? I'm great. I slept the best I have in a long time. Cadis says happily. I'm fine, but Cadis's energy is making me feel tired, Murayama says while looking at Cadis. What's it supposed to mean? She says indignantly. Issei laughs at them. You two really are the best of friends, aren't you? He asks with a smile. They both nod happily. Issei, I thought you hated them for beating on us all the time. Madohama asks in anger. Who told you that? Issei asks in confusion. I've never hated either of them. We've been friends for years. If you were friends, why the hell did they always beat on us? The perverted duo exclaims. Because you are beasts. Cadis answers bluntly and Murayama nods. As for Issei, he could have stopped us from beating on him at any time he wanted. He was Japan's kendo champion 4 years ago after all, she says, shocking the whole room. That pervert won the kendo championship. Someone calls out. Who knew? Another states back. If he's that strong, he could have taken advantage of us. A girl yells out. Issei decides to tune them out after that. Anyways, Issei, do you want to join the kendo team? We could use your help taking Kuo to the championships. On a few of our meets, some of the other school's members asked us if you were still doing kendo since they haven't heard of you in quite a while. Cadis asks him. I'll think about it. I'm really busy lately, but it might be a good way to relax once in a while. He answers with a small smile. I'd have to ask Butchu first though before I can decide. Late at night, Issei's room. While Issei is asleep, he feels something land on top of him, waking him up immediately and almost jumps out of bed. Looking down, he spots Rias laying on top of him. Butchu, why are you here? Issei, make love to me, Rias says boldly while starting to strip, making Issei blush. Why? What happened, Butchu? He asks, averting his eyes. Stop striping, please. Why? Am I not good enough for you? She asks him almost in desperation. It's not that, but why are you doing this, Butchu? He asks, still averting his eyes. Because it's the only way out for me, she yells before pinning him on the bed. It's my first time, so please be gentle. Butchu, stop. Please, this isn't like you, he says while pushing her off of him. Tell me what's going on. Rias opens her mouth to talk before she sees a magic circle light up in the middle of the floor. TCH, too slow, she mutters. I'm too late, a silver-haired maid says as she appears in the room. So this is your answer, Rias? You're trying so hard you'd run to some lowly peasant to attempt to escape. If I don't go this far, none of you will listen to me. Rias's eyes narrow in anger. And don't call my servants lowly, even if it's you, Grafia, I won't forgive you. I apologize, it was not my intention to insult you, Rias. The maid bows to Issei slightly. Sorry for intruding in your house, she trails off waiting for him to answer. Issei Hayaudu, he supplies. Grafia's eyes widen in recognition. Ah, so this is this generation's Sekiryute, huh? It's an honor to meet you, Issei. I am Grafia Lucifuge, a maid of the Gremory household. It's nice to meet you as well, Grafia. Rias sighed from beside him. Grafia, did you come here for yourself? Or did mother and father send you? Or was it my brother? Rias asks with narrowed eyes. All of the above, Rias. Can you explain to me what is going on? Issei asks. I'll explain to everyone in the morning, Issei. Be sure to stick around before leaving for your training in the morning. She stands up and redresses herself. Let's go back to my place to talk, Grafia. Am I allowed to bring Akino with me? The priestess of thunder. I don't see why not. A high-class devil shouldn't go anywhere without their queen. See you in the morning, Issei, Rias says before they both leave by a magic circle. The next morning, Orc room. Everyone is in the club room, waiting for Rias to explain what is going on. Grafia is standing next to Rias, and Tiamat is leaning against the wall, heavily suppressing her aura and looking like she wants to be anywhere except there. Do you want me to explain the situation, Rias? Grafia asks politely from where she's standing. No, I'll do it. You see, the thing is she gets cut off by a flames bursting to life in the middle of the room. Phoenix. Ah, the human words. It's been many years since Razor stepped foot here. He dismisses Rias's peerage and walks up to her. Razor has come for you, Rias, he declares proudly before hearing someone burst out laughing. Everyone looks to where Tiamat is standing to see her laughing. Who do you think you are, bitch? Everyone besides Razor and Grafia's eyes widen in fear when her laugh breaks off and she glares at him. What did you just call me, you weak Yakitori? She sneers out at him. Weak, Yakitori. I am Razor Phoenix. Do not call me weak, you bitch. He growls while walking towards and reaching for her shoulder. She grabs his hand and squeezes it until it breaks, causing him to scream out in pain. Do not touch me, Yakitori. And to think that I thought that I would never meet someone with more unfounded pride and arrogance than those two idiot dragons. Not even they were arrogant enough to talk about themselves in third person. She tells him with her eyes narrowed. Who the hell are you? He yells at her. You mean, you don't know? She smirks cruelly at him. I'll let you figure that out on your own if you try anything again. Razor turns away from her and walks back to Rias. Anyways, let's go get married already, Rias, he says while putting an arm around Rias. Let go of me, Razor, she says coldly and shrugs his arm off. No need to be so cold, my lovely Rias, he says with a smirk. All right, who the hell are you? Issei yells at him. You're clearly bothering Butchu, so just leave her alone. Huh, who are you? Razor asks with a bored expression. Issei gains a tick mark. I'm Issei Hayaudu, Butchu's pawn. Issei declares proudly. Oh, is that so? Doesn't matter, he dismisses Issei with a wave of his hand, making Issei depressed for getting ignored. Issei Hayaru, this is Razor Phoenix, a full-ed devil who is the third son of the head of the House of Phoenix. So, Issei asks politely. He's also set to marry the heiress of the House of Gremory. Issei's eyes widen and looks at Rias. He is engaged to Rias. Razor has his arm over Rias's shoulder again and smirking. Damn it, Razor. I told you I won't marry you. Rias yells heatedly while pushing him away. Are you going to damn your household, Rias? You know this marriage was set up to build up more pure-ed devils in our system. Razor explains to her. I won't bring my household to ruin, Razor. Rias refutes. Great. Then we can. Rias interrupts him. But I will not marry you, Razor. Besides, I was told that I am free until I graduate from a university. Damn it, Rias. Be rational. Your house is in a serious situation. Do you really want it on your head if your house goes extinct? Razor yells. I know my house's situation clearly, but I have a choice in who I will marry, and it will not be you. You will be marrying me, Rias, even if I have to burn your entire peerage and drag you back. Razor roars out before raising his hand above his head and forming a giant fireball. Rias flares her aura as well while the rest of her peerage get ready to fight. Razor, Rias, please stop this nonsense at once, or I will have to step in. Grafia says calmly from the sidelines. Razor and Rias start to sweat before calming down and releasing their auras. Master Surzech and the House of Phoenix anticipated this outcome and have come to a solution, an unofficial rating game between Rias and Razor. Grafia explains. So they will go this far to manipulate me? Rias asks in anger. Do you decline then, Rias? Grafia asks. Tiamat decides to speak up here before she answers. Are familiars allowed to be used in the rating game? She asks. Grafia looks at her and nods. They are. You never did give us your name, Miss Grafia asks calmly. Tiamat smirks. I'll tell you once they come to their decision. Grafia's eyes narrow at her slightly before she nods and looks back at Rias and Razor, noticing Rias's award-winning smile, and gets confused. Why are you so happy, Rias? Do you really think that you can defeat Razor? He declares arrogantly. How about this? If you lose, we get married immediately. If Razor loses, he chuckles at the thought, then you are free to do whatever you want. Rias smiles and looks at Tiamat, who nods her head at her. I accept. Rias holds her hand out to seal the deal and Razor shakes it. Is this your whole peerage, Rias? He asks mockingly. So what if it is? Rias asks with a raised eyebrow. Then the only one here who is a threat to my peerage is your queen. Razor snaps his fingers and his peerage appears in a burst of flames. I have a full set, while you only have 5 members, and whoever she is in the corner. You don't stand a chance. He smirks in triumph before everyone except his peerage, and Grafia bursts out laughing. Yeah, right, Razor. The second Grafia said familiars were allowed, you lost any chance you had in ever defeating us. Rias smirks at him, making everyone in his peerage confused while Grafia stares at Tiamat. But I'll give you a handicap of 2 weeks to increase the strength of your peerage to make it fair. Razor gains a tick mark and growls in his throat. And why do I have no chance of defeating you exactly? I am an immortal, he declares. Tiamat walks up to him and stands in front of him with a thirsty grin. Because I hate arrogant and prideful fools who have no reason to have that pride or arrogance, she says to him while he gets angrier. And who exactly are you that I should be worried about you? You have almost no aura to you. He nearly screams. Tiamat smiles fairly, showing off her extremely sharp teeth, and stops suppressing her aura, shocking Grafia and Razor in its intensity while knocking his entire peerage to their knees with it, somehow unaffecting Rias's peerage. I am known as the Chaos Karma Dragon, Tiamat, she declares with lust in her voice. I won't interfere in your rating game unless I have to, but even so, you should accept those 2 weeks and train. Train harder than you ever have in your life. As you are, in 2 weeks even Issei could defeat you, and he's only been a devil for a little over a month. Let alone having to deal with someone like me. Razor pales and breaks into a cold sweat and walks backwards towards his peerage. Very well, I'll accept these 2 weeks. I didn't expect someone like Tiamat to be my opponent. Let's go, we need to train, he says to his peerage as they disappear in a flume of fire. Rias, how exactly did your group manage to get someone like Tiamat as a familiar? Grafia asks while watching Tiamat warily. Not even I could beat her. She's just too strong for me. You can thank Issei for that, Grafia. Rias responds calmly. Grafia turns to Issei with a raised eyebrow. How did you get Tiamat as a familiar, Issei? She asks him. Issei shrugs and looks at Tiamat. I'm not really sure myself. I didn't expect her to become my familiar. I only sought her out to ask her to train me. She made that decision on her own. Grafia's eyes widen comically. You sought out the most powerful dragon king to train you, she asks incredulously before turning to Tiamat. If you don't mind, can you explain why you accepted a familiar contract with him? Tiamat smirks. He interests me, she states bluntly, surprising most of the room. He's a dragon, and yet he willingly throws away his pride to help his friends. He doesn't care about the feud between him and the White One, even stating he'd be willing to be their friend. I've never heard of the host of D-Drake to ever not care about what the White One does. He is different from all the past generations of Sekiryute, and I want to see where he goes with that. Grafia nods with a thoughtful expression. Plus, I just want to torture D-Drake as much as I can, she remarks with a shrug, making everyone face fault. That's probably her main reason. Everyone in the orc thinks at the same time. Grafia composes herself. Very well then, I'll leave and inform both parties of what transpired here. We'll see you in 2 weeks for your rating game. She bows before disappearing in a magic circle. Tiamat clears her throat to get their attention. Now then, we're going to have a training camp for the next 2 weeks. She grins fairly at them all as they gulp in fear. And don't expect me to go as easy on you as I have been on Issei. I don't want to waste my time kicking the Yakitori's ass if I don't have to. At the Gremory Summer Retreat Mansion, Tiamat is looking at Riaz's peerage in disappointment. All of them are laying on the ground panting except Issei, who has already started his workout, and Kaneko, who is only slightly winded. All we did was walk up the mountain. If this is the level they are at, I have a lot of work cut out for me. Get up, you lazy asses. Tiamat yells at them. If you can't even manage to walk up a mountain, how the hell do you plan to take on Razor's peerage? Every member of the orc glares at Tiamat. You are insane, Tiamat. Riaz yells out. Why the hell did you make our clothes weigh 100 pounds? Tiamat cocks her head to the side confused. But only yours was 100 pounds, she says, making Riaz mad. Why did you make me carry so much more weight than them? She yells. What are you talking about, Riaz? Tiamat asks. Besides Asia's, your clothes weigh the least here. She responds calmly, shocking Riaz. What do you mean mine is the second lightest? She asks, confused. You are a typical pure-ed devil, Riaz. You refuse to exercise your body, hoping your magical ability will be enough to bail you out of tough situations. Hence why I started you out the lightest besides Asia, who will for the most part only ever be playing a support role due to her sacred gear. Tiamat explains to her. Riaz looks angry at being told her body is weak. Then how much are the others carrying? Kaneko is carrying 400 pounds. Everyone besides Issei and Kaneko's eyes widen at this. Akino is carrying 150 pounds. Kiba is carrying 125 pounds. Issei is carrying 150 pounds. But I will probably be increasing that soon as I can't go easy on him anymore, and Asia is carrying 25 pounds. She explains calmly. I figured since you all have been devils for so much longer than Issei has, that you'd at least have kept your body conditioned, but it looks like I was wrong in that. She sighs and rubs her temples. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. We're going to be pushing you to double the weight you're currently carrying by the end of this week, hopefully, as well as increasing the potency of your magic. She looks over and spots Issei doing pull-ups on a low-hanging limb. Issei, come over here. It's time to increase the weight of your clothes again. Issei nods and drops to the ground and runs over to Tiamat, where her hand glows alongside his clothes. There, you're up to 225 pounds. Don't push yourself too hard today, just get used to the weight for now. It's only been a couple of days since we increased it last time after all, and it took you almost a month to get used to the first 75 pounds. Issei salutes her. Yes ma'am, I'll just do some light jogging for today then, he says before turning and starting his jog. Asia, join Issei. You don't need muscle condition, you just need the stamina. She nods and jogs at a much slower pace after Issei. Now for the rest of you. First off, Kaneko. You don't seem very tired compared to the rest. Do you want me to increase your weight, or do you want to get used to that for now? She asks, staring at Kaneko, who nods, shocking the rest of them. Didn't Tiamat say she's carrying 400 pounds? They all thought, I can carry more weight. I'd like to start at 600 pounds for now. Kaneko answers monotone. Tiamat smiles proudly at her and adjusts the weight. At least one of you takes your training seriously. If it weren't for you and Issei, I'd have thought none of you cared about getting stronger. Tiamat tells to her, making her blush slightly embarrassed while the rest growl in their throats. I want you to work on your speed, Kaneko. So start doing suicide drills for now. Do a 15 feet by 30 feet gap. We'll work out a further plan after I get these lazy asses to work, Tiamat says, taunting the others, trying to motivate them. Kaneko walks away a bit and starts doing her sprints. Now for Kiba. Would you say you're decently fast? She asks him as he nods. Alright, how long can you run for a full sprint? Kiba thinks for a few seconds before answering. 10 minutes maybe, I'm not entirely sure as I've never tried, is his answer, which makes Tiamat growl. Seriously, do any of you three even care about getting stronger? She yells at them. Kiba, I want you to run as fast as you can for as long as you can. When you can't anymore, stop and rest for a few minutes and start again. With stamina that pathetic, you'll never be able to last in a prolonged fight. She turns away from his without waiting for his response. Now what to do with you two? You're mainly magic users who have never trained their bodies. Tiamat taps her chin with her finger, thinking before an evil grin spreads across her face, making them pale. I'll start you on something simple, push-ups, she says, which made them sigh in relief before she continued. I want you both to give me 100 push-ups without stopping. No enhancing your body with your magic. If your arms give out once, restart your count. Come find me if you complete that, she says before turning and walking away from them both. Akino, Riaz says tiredly. Yes Riaz, dragons are definitely insane, she says before getting started on her push-ups. That they are. Akino responds and joins her. With Kaneko. That'll be good for now, Kaneko. I'd like to talk to you for a minute, Tiamat tells her and walks into the forest until they're out of sight and sits down. What do you need, Tiamat? Kaneko asks tiredly. Sit down. Kaneko sits in front of Tiamat and stares at her blankly. Why won't you use your Nekomata powers? Kaneko's eyes widen and she starts to shake. I see, so you're afraid to use them. Kaneko nods. How did you know? Kaneko asks quietly. You're not the first Nekomata I've met, Kaneko. I know what their aura feels like quite well, but your aura seems quite powerful for just a Nekomata. Are you by any chance a Nekashu? Kaneko nods her head, but doesn't respond. Why are you scared of using your power, but are so willing to throw yourself into a brutal training program? I've noticed how you go home early every day after school, and the next day you look like you're going to pass out on your feet when you show up at school. That's not healthy for you. Kaneko looks at the ground, refusing to look at Tiamat. She bites her lip, not wanting to answer. Well, why do you do it, Kaneko? Tiamat urges her. Because Senpai is so determined to protect us. He willingly throws himself into an insane workout and keeps going back for more. He acts as if his life means nothing, so long as we can be happy and live. Kaneko is shedding silent tears. But what about his happiness? He is the first one to volunteer himself as a sacrifice, even if you're a complete stranger, just to try and make you happy. Kaneko's body starting to shake slightly. It makes me feel useless. I don't want to see him sad anymore. I don't know why, but he changed after Butchu revived Asia. She shakes her head slightly. No, even before that. When she first died, he became so lifeless. His eyes, they looked like he just didn't care anymore. And then when Butchu said she could save Asia, there was just so much joy in his eyes. My chest felt warm when I saw that joy. It's as if he was so happy at that one moment that even I felt it. Kaneko clenches her fist over her heart and stares straight at Tiamat with tears flowing down her face. So I started to think, if I can become strong enough that Senpai can rely on my strength, would I be able to give him that kind of happiness? Would I be able to feel that warmth again if I brought him that joy? Her body shakes harder, with her trying as hard as she can not to break down completely. I started small. I put an hour aside every day to get stronger. Then I noticed Issei started his workout. He pushed himself until he collapsed every single day, and then Butchu decides to get him an Asia familiar so he can relax and let his body rest for a little while. When he heard, his face broke out into a wide smile, saying there was someone he wanted to find in the forest. Anyways, we hoped that meant he would tone down his training. And then the next day he tells us he wants to find you. We were all shocked, not knowing why. Kaneko is choking on her sobs now, with Tiamat staring at her sadly. He says he wants to find you to train him, that only a dragon can train another dragon, knowing that you might have killed him. Without even waiting for him to talk, he begged us to let him try. Kaneko covers her face with her hands. And then when we met you, he didn't care about anything else. He just wanted to get stronger to protect us. He begged you to help him. He even offered himself to you to kill just so you could try and find some closure. He knew he was walking to his death, but even still he asked you to spare us. He was protecting us even in what he thought of as his last moments. Kaneko finally breaks down completely, curling into a ball with her whole body shaking terribly and choking on her tears. I'm useless, weak. I couldn't do anything, all because I'm afraid to use my power, so I started training harder each day. I tried harder than the last. It didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. While he seems to be getting stronger by the second, and then just the other day I saw his spar with that kendo club girl. He beat her so easily, but there was no happiness in him from it. She turns her shot eyes back to Tiamat. He broke down. He sat there and cried on her shoulder for an hour. I don't know what happened to him, but something hurt him in the past. It hurt him badly, and yet he still finds the strength to stand up and move on. When I saw that, I just felt so worthless, like I don't deserve his kindness. He's just so far above me. He's moving up, while I'm still afraid to do anything. She gets cut off as Tiamat hugs her tightly, comforting her. After a few minutes of her crying into Tiamat's shoulder, Kaneko finally calms down and stares at her with a strong resolve. Please help me, Tiamat. Kaneko asks and bows to her. You're strong enough to stop me if I go out of control. Please help me learn to use my power. Kaneko begs her. I don't want to be useless anymore. I want to be able to stand next to Issei proudly, not behind him cowering like I have been. Tiamat smiles at her proudly. I can set aside a few hours every day to assist you. I don't know much about Senjutsu or Yaojutsu myself, so I guess we learn together. Tiamat's smile turns to a smirk. So it's Issei now? Huh. What happened to Senpai? Kaneko blushes and looks away. I don't want to see him as better than me anymore. Even if it's just because he's older than me, I want him to see me as an equal, someone he can rely on, she mutters to herself. Then I guess we have some work to do, don't we? Tiamat says with a smirk as Kaneko smiles up at her and nods. A few days later, Akino and Riz are sparring in magic on one end of the field. Flashes of lightning and blasts of destruction flying everywhere. On the other end, Issei and Kiba are sparring with their swords. Asia is sitting off to the side waiting in case anyone gets injured and needs healing. Again, with Rasei sitting nearby napping. Tiamat walks out of the forest with Kaneko trying to hide behind her. All right, gather up everyone. Tiamat calls out and their spar break off and they head over to her. I'm impressed with all of you. You haven't given up yet, and you have all gotten significantly stronger. Everyone smiles at her. Even with all of your accomplishments so far since we have started, one of you has impressed me the most. She smirks at their confused looks and steps aside and pushes Kaneko forward. Ria's and Akino's eyes widen, Kiba's jaw drops, Asia squeals, and Issei freezes in shock. Cuteness, overload, can not handle, are Issei's thoughts as his eyes roll into the back of his head and passes out. Issei, Asia calls in shock as Tiamat bursts out laughing. I told you his expression would be priceless. Kaneko shifts nervously under all their gazes as Issei wakes back up holding his head. What happened? I think my brain overloaded. What could have caused that? Issei mutters before looking up and spotting Kaneko again, and his eyes widen. I see. So that's what happened. Too much cuteness. That makes sense, I guess. He says aloud without thinking. Kaneko fidgets in place and her face turns bright red. Kaneko, you're using your powers. Rias asks her quietly in shock. Kaneko nods slightly. I'm sick of being useless when Issei needs us. Kaneko mutters out while clenching her fists. Everyone else besides Issei and Asia get guilty grimaces on their faces. Now we're going to have a match. All of you against me. Tiamat tells them I want to judge exactly how far you have come in these last few days, and see where adjustments in your training program need to be made. This match will last for 1 hour. I'll remove your weight so I can judge you more accurately. She looks around seeing everyone get ready and smirks. Start. 1 hour and a massive beatdown later. Tiamat is currently looking around at the field in thought, looking at the group. Issei is the only one still standing currently, while the rest are exhausted. Very good. Compared to 5 days ago, you would destroy your past selves. Issei, your magic is at an acceptable level. You should work on putting more strength behind your blows for now. Hiba, you're very fast, I can't deny that, but you seem to have gained tunnel vision. I want you to run at full speed until you can make out details around you with ease. Get used to your speed. Tunnel vision will kill you if you're not careful. She looks around at the others thinking, Asia, you need to get faster. Getting to your comrades as quick as possible could be the difference of life and death. Try pouring your magic into your legs constantly and continue your stamina training. Kaneko, your current training is doing wonders. You're not fast enough to make contact with many opponents you'll face, but if you land one blow, that's the end for a normal opponent. Go back to speed training for now. We'll cut back your training and your Nekashu powers to 1 hour a day until you get to an acceptable speed. She walks up to Rias and Akino and looks at them both, making them nervous. You're both doing well so far, but you need to learn how to control your energy. Just making the largest blast of energy will get you nowhere. Moderate the amount of energy you put into each blast, focus it. Pouring all of your energy into one blow will get you nowhere besides being exhausted, especially against a phoenix. She turns back to Asia. I want you to meet me 1 hour a day with Issei. It's time you get trained as a dragon tamer. The day before the raiding game, Razor is in for a surprise. Tiamat thinks while looking around at the orc. Take this last day to rest. You need all of your strength for tomorrow. Let's go home. They all nod and head home with relief on their faces. 9:45 p.m. the next day. Do your best, Rias. All of the Mao are in attendance to watch this game. Grafia tells them, standing in the middle of the club room. All of them? Rias asks, shocked. What could have possibly made them all show up? I expected my brother, but the others as well. You underestimated what would happen when Tiamat's presence here was discovered. Grafia responds while nodding at Tiamat. Tiamat is extremely powerful on the level of the Maus. Having her on your side has brought a lot of attention to your group, and everyone wants to see what the results will be. So they want to know if we're going to rely on Tiamat, or if we're willing to get stronger ourselves. Rias thought. Then they should be in for a surprise. Are you all ready? The game is about to start. Grafia asks and sees them all nod. Good luck, Rias, Grafia says as she activates the magic circle transporting them to the artificial dimension. Welcome to the raiding game between the Rias Gremory and Razor Phoenix. Grafia calls out over the intercom. The field was built as an open plain battleground. The size of the field is 2 square miles. On the north side of the field lays Razor Phoenix's base, and on the south side of the field lays Rias Gremory's base. Pawns will need to get to their opponent's designated base to be allowed to promote. This will be a blitz-style battle that will last until dawn or one of the kings surrenders. The raiding game will start in 10 minutes. Take this time to make any preparations you will need for the game. Akino, set up some illusions surrounding our base. Hiba and Kaneko, set up traps and mark them on this map. Rias commands. Asia, don't summon Issei unless you need to. We want to keep him as a trump card as long as we can. Rias chews on her thumb. Tiamat, I assume you'll just be flying around to cause panic. She asks and sees her nod. Issei, come here and sit down. Issei nods and sits in front her confused as she puts her hands on side of his head. His eyes widen as he feels a surge of energy pool into him. I released a seal on your power. When I reincarnated you, I had to seal off the majority of your power as your body wouldn't have been able to handle it. Tiamat TCHS off to the side. No wonder he was so weak when we started. Tiamat mutters to herself. I'll be above watching this play out. I don't want to get involved, so you better win yourselves. She announces before transforming back into a massive dragon and flying off. With the Mao. So it's true, they really do have Tiamat on their side. Hajika Beelzebub says. I know, it's amazing when you think about it. The most powerful Dragon King, the most powerful breed of Nekomata, the user of Twilight Healing, the Sekryute, the daughter of a leader of Grigori, a demonic sword creator, and the owner of Forbidden Balor View. All on the same team. Surzech Lucifer shakes his head in disbelief. What kind of star was Rias born under, I wonder? I bet my Sonatan could beat them. Seraphal Leviathan says excitedly. How will Razor win this? Falbium Asmodeus asks, bringing everyone back to the game, as for once he's not sleeping. Back with the orc. We're going to split into groups of 2. Watch each other's backs. Issei and Kaneko will be one group. Kiba and Akino another, and Asia will be staying with me. Let's win this, Riaz exclaims. Take these communication devices so we can keep in touch. Right, they all respond. Kaniko's tail and ears are out and looks determined. I don't need to be protected anymore, she declares in her head. With Issei and Kaniko, go in silent and fast. Don't let your enemy know you are there until it's too late. Tiamat's words of advice from one of their matches echo through their head as they spot a group of enemies. They're hiding behind a rock about 20 feet from them, 4 pawns in their rooks. Issei whispers to Kaniko, you take care of the rooks while I take care of the pawns. She nods and gets ready to charge. Go, he says quietly, and they both launch out from behind the rock they are hiding behind. Kaniko goes straight for one of the rooks, fast enough she is almost a blur to the 6 devils. The devils split up as she continues after the rook and lands a punch powered by Senjutsu into her chest. The rook's eyes widen as leaks from her mouth before she disappears. Zuelan, the 2 green-haired girls cry out, not noticing Issei freezing the other 2 pawns solid, making them disappear as well. Kaniko charges the other rook and kicks her in the ribs, hearing a crack as she disappears as well. Issei flew at the other 2 pawns with his sword flashing as he cuts them both across the chest, making them disappear. That seemed easy, too easy, Issei says while both of them look at their hands. 2 of Razor's rooks retired. 4 of Razor's pawns retired. Grafia announces. Issei smirks and clenches his hands into fists. Let's do this, he yells, and Kaniko nods with a small smile on her face. 1 of Razor's bishops retired. 2 of Razor's knights retired. 2 of Razor's pawns retired. Grafia announces again. Looks like Akino and Kiba found their group. Issei remarks. Razor's knight retired. Grafia announces, shocking the 2 of them. 2 of Razor's pawns retired. Damn it, Kiba, what happened over there, Akino? Issei asks through the decide worriedly. Those 2 pawns were hiding on us and took him out from behind. He'll be fine, don't worry. Just keep heading to our meeting point. Akino calls back. With Razor. Damn it, what's going on out there? I thought Tiamat would be our only problem. Razor screams out. How have they taken out them all so quickly? He says while watching Tiamat flying warily. Ubaluna, take out as many of them as quickly as you can, and then find their queen and take her out. Ubaluna nods and takes off. Ravel, I'm going to need you to fight, he tells her and notices her shaking. I know you're scared, but you should know that fire can't hurt you, Ravel. I need your help. Ravel nods nervously at him. With the Mao, anyone who walked in the room would burst out laughing at the expressions on most of their faces. Surzech has a proud smile as he watches, while the others' jaws are wide open watching the nearly one-sided massacre. What the hell is going on? I thought you said your sister's peerage weren't that strong yet, Surzech. Ajuka asked. That rook is very fast. She closed in on them almost before they could even react. And it only took 1 hit to eliminate her opponents. Falbium says in thought. Are they really low-class devils, Surzech? Seraphal asks seriously for once. Riz's knight moved and defeated Razor's knight so fast they didn't even see him until it was over. And her queen, her lightning was just so powerful they had no chance to get away from it. Don't forget Issei though. He hasn't even used his sacred gear yet. Surzech comments with pride clear in his voice. And to think we thought that Riaz would be relying on Tiamat's strength alone, he breaks out laughing at the irony of that statement. Tiamat has yet to do anything except fly around. With Issei and Kaniko. Let's go. We have to meet up with Akino, Riaz and Asia, Issei says while starting to walk away. Kaniko relaxes her guard and starts to follow him as an explosion engulfs her. Take 1 more left. A voice calls out from above. Riaz's rook retired. Grafia announces. Kaniko. Issei asks with wide eyes and starts shaking. No, she'll be okay, she retired and is getting healed already, I have to focus. So the queen comes out, huh? Issei asks her as he summons his boosted gear. Boost, Issei, what's happening over there? Issei, Riaz calls out over the earpiece but he ignores her. Akino, find Issei and help him. On my way. Correct, you're all causing too many problems, so I'll have to eliminate you here. Boost, Ubaluna answers and turns to Issei raising her staff. Sorry but I ran into Ravel on my way towards Issei. I'm going to be stuck here for a while, Akino states. She gets cut off as Issei vanishes and reappears in front of her swinging his sword at her already. Boost, she dodges and prepares to blast him again when he freezes her arm. Damn, this isn't good, she says as she flies higher and starts melting the ice off, turning her attention away from Issei. Boost, explosion, lightning dragon shot. Issei roars out, launching a massive bolt of lightning at Ubaluna, who is too slow to dodge it and causing an explosion. Reset, did I get her? He asks out loud. Not yet, Ubaluna says weakly from inside the smoke. I still have the phoenix tear. As the smoke clears, Issei sees a bottle in her hand that she brought to her mouth. His eyes widen as her wounds all vanish instantly. Round 2. She growls out and bombards Issei with explosions. The smoke clears to show Issei charred, but still standing. Boost, explosion. Issei charges at her faster than she can follow and slashes her arm with his sword. Transfer. She backs away and hits him with another explosion, causing him to crash to the ground. Freeze. Issei roars out and Ubaluna screams in pain and falls to the ground holding her arm where he cut her. What did you do to me? She asks through gritted teeth. He slowly walks towards her. I transferred my ice magic into your wound, freezing you from the inside out. Think of it as an extreme form of frostbite. He answers her out of breath. Take. He stabs her stomach and she disappears. Razor's queen retired. Grafia announced as he spots Riaz and Asia running towards him. Asia runs up to him and starts healing him. Are you alright, Issei? She asks worriedly. He simply nods. I'll be fine, we're not done yet. Out of nowhere a massive fireball comes flying at them and blowing them in different directions. You're really getting on my nerves, you pests. Razor roars out as he's flying towards them. No more playing around. He lands near Asia and forms a fireball in his hand. Boy, retire or I'll kill her. If you leave, Tiamat will go with you. Issei's eyes widen and his body starts shaking. No, not again. I've got to stop him. But how? Issei panics in his head. Should I just retire? But then I'll be leaving Butchu on her own. What do I do? Issei grabs his head as if in pain and falls to his knees. Did you hear me, boy? Retire or she will die. Razor screams at him and makes the fireball ever larger. Rassay. Asia yells as loud as she can and a blue dragon the size of a bulldog appears out of nowhere and tackles and drags Razor away from Asia. Tiamat is flying directly above them watching as Asia and Riaz run to Issei. You're almost there. You just need one more push, Issei. She thought and sees Razor throw Rassay away. You've done well raising that dragon in just 2 weeks, Asia. But it wasn't enough. Issei, calm down. What's wrong? Asia yells in panic while shaking Issei. No, I can't let it happen anymore. I've got to get stronger. I can't protect them like this. Did I accomplish anything this last month and a half with Tiamat? Issei roars out in his mind. The jewel on the back of his hand starts glowing brightly. Issei, wake up. Asia begs him while hearing explosions behind her and looks back seeing Riaz and Razor fighting. Butchu needs you. Riaz screams in pain behind her and Issei freezes. No more. I have to protect them. I will protect them. Issei's aura skyrockets out of nowhere catching Razor's attention as he was about to take out Riaz. What's happening? Razor asks noticing his gauntlet glowing brightly and then dimming out as if unsure what it wants to do. I won't let anyone hurt anyone I care about ever again. Issei roars out as loud as he can. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. A red armor forms over his body causing a crater to dig into the earth around him and blowing Asia away where Tiamat catches her before she gets hurt. He disappears as Razor goes flying backwards. Issei is now standing where Razor was before with his fist extended. You damn pest. Just stay down already. Razor screams out and unleashes his power causing a pillar of fire to rise high into the sky. Ha 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 ha. You did it, partner. You reached Balance Breaker. D-Drag roars out in glee. Now teach this Yakitori who the real predators of the sky are. With Ravel and Aquino, you can't defeat something immortal, Riz's queen. Ravel taunts her. You don't seem to be trying to beat me either. You've yet to attack me at all. Aquino retorts slightly out of breath. They both see a pillar of fire rising into the sky in the distance and Ravel freezes stiff. They've started fighting. I've got to find a way to finish this. She looks at Ravel seeing her face frozen in fear. What's wrong with you? Aquino asks with narrowed eyes. Ravel starts hyperventilating and falls towards the ground. Aquino rushes to catch her. Hey, what's wrong? Aquino tries to snap her from her trance. Ravel doesn't respond and starts convulsing in her arms. Aquino yells to the sky. Retire her already. She's having a panic attack. She needs help. With the Mao. Shit, what's happening? Serzech runs to the phone and calls Grafia. Retire Ravel already. We need to get her out of there. What caused that kind of reaction? Ajuka asks with wide eyes. I've never seen someone have such an extreme reaction. I'm not sure. We're going to have to figure this out though. Falbium responds with a finger on his chin in thought. I don't care if it's against the rules. Get that girl out of there, Grafia. Serzech screams into the phone. They all watch as Ravel's body disappears from the screen where Aquino has been screaming at them to help her for the last few minutes. Razor's bishop has been forced to retire. Grafia's voice is heard from the intercom. Thank you, Grafia. Serzech sighs in relief before hanging up. With Issei and Razor are just glaring at each other, neither of them making a move. Razor's bishop has been forced to retire. Grafia announces, making Razor's eyes widen. Ravel, forced to retire. I didn't retire her, then did someone else force her out? Razor's thoughts are going a mile a minute trying to figure out what happened until he remembers his pyre of flames. Shit, I didn't think it would affect her from this distance. Please be alright, Ravel. I don't have the time to sit around anymore. I need to end this now. Razor says while condensing his fire into his fist. I'll end it with one blow. Issei and Razor charge at each other, cocking their fists back. Boost. X20. Their fists collide, causing a massive explosion, blowing them both away from each other. They both slowly stand up and stare at each other, Issei looking worse with parts of his armor destroyed and breathing heavily. How the hell did you survive that? Razor asks in disbelief. You're a monster. You're a monster, kid. He condenses his flames into his fist again and charges at him again and hits him while Issei tries to block but can't get his arms up in time. His armor shatters and falls off while Issei struggles to try and stand up but keeps falling over. Razor's eyes widen in fear seeing this and rushes to condense his flames again. You're not normal. You shouldn't even be alive after that, he says while charging at him again. Riaz and Asia scream in fear from where they are as someone drops down in front of Issei and creates a barrier blocking Razor's flames. You're pathetic, Tiamat says while glaring at him. You'd attack him, even when he can't even fight anymore. You disgust me. She cocks her fist back, coating it with energy, and punches him in the face, knocking him out instantly. You lose, she says, and turns back to Issei, seeing him collapse unconscious. You did well, Issei. Good job, she says softly, and picks him up as the magic circle activates, taking them from the field. Ria's pawn retired. Grafia announces as Razor slowly disappears as well. Razor Phoenix has lost. Ria's Gremory has won the rating game. Grafia announces, with the Mao a few hours after the rating game. How's Ravel doing? Ajuka asks, starting their meeting. She's stable for now. The doctors believe she should wake up in a few hours. Her parents said she has a fear of fire from an event from her childhood. Surzech speaks up, and they allowed her to participate in rating games with that fear. Falbium asks in disbelief. Razor apparently convinced them she got over her fear so he could have her to complete his collection. Surzech replies in disgust. She'll be traded to Lady Phoenix as soon as Razor recovers, so this won't happen again, making the others sigh in relief. On to more important matters, namely Tiamat. Falbium brings up. What about her? Surfall asks, confused. She's a wild card. She's powerful enough to be able to destroy half of the underworld before we could stop her. Until we know what her motives are, not the excuses she gave Grafia, we'll have to treat her as a threat. Falbium says darkly. I'm not sure that will be needed. Surzech says, confusing the others. She's highly protective of Issei, as proven by how she didn't interfere in the game until he himself was put in danger. She could have jumped in when Asia or Rias were caught by Razor and ended the rating game whenever she wanted, but she waited until Issei specifically was in trouble to get involved. He explains further, making them nod in understanding. If that is true, then how should we go about Issei? His potential is nearly limitless with the boosted gear, and with a trainer of Tiamat's caliber, he will grow unimaginably fast. Ajuka asks, perhaps put him on the fast track to being a high-class devil. Falbium says, more of a statement than a question. What good would that do? Serafall asks, confused. If she's as protective of him as she seems, and we go by what she told Grafia, it would mean she will likely follow Issei far enough to even join his peerage if he wants one. Falbium explains, if she joins the devil's side, we'll gain a major morale boost, as the younger devils will feel safer, as well as Issei climbing up the ranks quickly will damage the pride of our lazier high-class devils, making them feel threatened of their positions and force them to train harder to keep up with a complete novice. I agree, though unconventional, Issei's rise in power should keep track with his ranking if he keeps gaining strength as fast as he has been. We'll have to go about it differently though. We'll never get the backing from the elders for a reincarnated devil for a few years at least, so we'll have to go by field promotion. We'll keep watch for now, and push for a field promotion as soon as he does something worthy. Surzech tells them, and they all nod. Now, on to other business. At the Orc. Will Issei be alright? Tiamat. Rias asks in concern. He'll be fine. He just used all of his stamina in the rating game. He should be awake tomorrow. Tiamat explains boredly. Do you know why he had that panic attack? Tiamat. Aquino asks. I do not. I won't pry into his secrets, they are his alone. If he wants us to know, he will tell us. Tiamat says, daring them to argue. Very well. Let's go home and rest. We all deserve it after that game, Rias says while standing up. Next day, at school. Issei. A familiar voice yells out as he walks through the gate with Asia beside him. Good morning, Cat. Issei responds tiredly. Should have stayed in bed for another day. Where have you been? The whole occult research club just disappeared and no one knew anything about it. Cat says disappointed. We went on a field trip, that's all, Cat. Issei replies with a yawn. You could have told me you were leaving though. Cat pouts. Sorry, I'll remember next time. You better. Are you alright though? You look like you're about to collapse, she says with concern and notices Asia flinch but says nothing. Didn't get much sleep last night, that's all. Issei responds with another yawn. I'll be fine after I get a good night's rest tonight. If you say so, she says with narrowed eyes before turning to Asia. So what's it like living at Issei's house? Asia visibly perks up and smiles innocently. It's so much fun. Mother and father are so friendly, and recently they seem to have become happy about something. Asia doesn't notice Caddis look over at Issei, who is almost asleep on his feet. It's like all of their burdens have been lifted from their shoulders, and they can finally relax. Asia says with an innocent smile. I bet it deals with this guy here. Caddis says while jerking her thumb at Issei. He's probably had them so worried because of having no proper friends besides the two perverted idiots. Thankfully he's not pushing others away anymore. They probably regained faith in him beyond his beast-like tendencies. Caddis says with a teasing grin at him. Hey, Issei says indignantly. I wasn't that bad. Caddis deadpans at him. Yes you were, she says flatly. Good morning, Caddis, Issei, Asia. Another familiar voice speaks out, coming towards them. Mornin', Mura. Issei calls out with a wave. You're late today, Murayama. You oversleep or something? Caddis asks. Yeah, just didn't feel like getting out of bed. She looks at Issei out of the corner of her eyes and smiles. Welcome back, by the way, Issei. Did you have fun? Murayama asks. Yeah, it was pretty exhausting, but we had fun and made some new memories. Issei responds with a small smile. Hey Issei, I was wondering something, Caddis says, looking nervous. Murayama looks at her with narrowed eyes. She wouldn't, Murayama thought. What is it, Cat? Issei asks, confused. Caddis fidgets a bit before shaking her head. Never mind, it doesn't matter. She responds with a fake smile. Issei narrows his eyes at her a bit but nods anyways. You can talk to me about anything, Cat Ace, I hope you know that. Ace replies with a small smile as he pats her head, making her blush. Yeah, I know, Issei, Cat Ace says with a genuine smile this time. It's nothing though, don't worry about it. She grabs Miriama's arm and starts dragging her away. We gotta go. We got practice before school starts. See you later, Issei, she says with a wave over her shoulder. What's with her this morning? Issei mutters to himself before turning to Asia. Let's go see Bachu. Asia nods and they head towards the club room. What was she going to ask me? Was his thoughts as they entered the old school building. With Cat Ace and Miriama. What was that about, Cat Ace? I thought we had a deal. Miriama asks with narrowed eyes. Yeah, but you remember those things he was always spouting while he was still acting the pervert. The idea had to come from somewhere after all. Maybe we don't need to fight over it, Cat Ace says with a red face. Miriama sighs and rubs the bridge of her nose. Maybe you're right, but we don't know that for sure. It wouldn't hurt to try though, right? Cat Ace says meekly. I guess not, but why would you even want to do that? Miriama asks confused. Could I even do that myself? If it would make Issei happy, then I would be glad to. It would make it more than worth it. Even if I wouldn't be entirely happy about the situation, I would still be happy enough to know that I can be there for him when he needs me, Cat Ace says, making Miriama's eyes widen. If it could make Issei happy, I'd do anything, but should I really accept this as is? If you can't do it, I understand. I just want what is best for Issei right now, and if that doesn't include me, then I will back off entirely, Cat Ace says, making Miriama's thoughts grind to a halt. She'd back off. But, no, I understand, Cat Ace. I couldn't let you do that just because of me, Miriama says softly. I'll give it a shot, but I won't make any promises. Cat Ace nods and they head to the dojo to do their morning practice, both of their thoughts elsewhere. With the orc. Good morning, Bachu, Issei says tiredly as he enters the room. Good morning, Issei, Asia. Did you sleep well? Riaz asks without looking up from her paperwork. I could use some more sleep, but I feel fine, Issei says as he sits on the couch. I slept great, thank you, Bachu, Asia says while sitting next to Issei. Kaneko walks in silently and goes straight to Issei and sits on his lap, surprising the others in the room. Are you all right, Kaneko? Riaz asks in shock. Kaneko simply nods and starts eating a lollipop. Riaz shakes her head. I'm not even going to ask. Tiamat shows up at this time and looks at Kaneko curiously for a second before grinning. We'll start up again tomorrow, Issei. You get one last day of rest, then we'll be taking your training up another notch. With Balance Breaker unlocked, any restraints your body may have had before are now unlocked, Tiamat says before sitting across from Issei. That's fine, I can't slack off for too long after all. I lost a razor. I need to get stronger, Issei says while clenching his fists. Kaneko lets out her ears and tail and leans back into Issei, nuzzling against him, causing him to relax and start petting her head. She purrs and wraps her tail around his arm. You're not alone anymore, she whispers softly so only he can hear, causing his eyes to widen and smile at her warmly. Everyone besides Tiamat looks at the scene frozen in shock, including Kiba and Akino who just walked in. Tiamat is calmly watching with a fond smile on her face. So she figured it out, huh? Tiamat thinks back to their training in Senjutsu and Kai. Kaneko has been trying to learn to manipulate her energy to have a calming effect on those around her. She's come a long way from 2 weeks ago. His Kai is so warm it makes me so relaxed, were Kaneko's thoughts as she continues to purr with her eyes closed. She leans up and licks Issei's neck. Her eyes snap open as she remembers there are others in the room and she buries her face into his chest with a furious blush. Are you all right, Kaneko? Issei asks slightly in shock. She shakes her head, still buried in his chest. There's no need to be embarrassed about having a crush, Kaneko. Tiamat teases her. Kaneko glares at her with a red face as the rest of the room's jaws drop and Issei's eyes widen. You promised you wouldn't say anything, Kaneko pouts. I didn't need to. You pretty much just admitted it with your actions, Tiamat says with a grin, making Kaneko's face turn even more red. Kaneko's eyes narrow before she smirks. Are you jealous, Tiamat? Kaneko says as Tiamat's eyes widen. I don't know what you're talking about. Tiamat denies while looking the other way. He's mine, Kaneko says possessively. Asia pouts at Kaneko as Tiamat's eyes narrow. The rest of the room looking back and forth between Tiamat and Kaneko, unsure of what to do. Is that a challenge? Tiamat says heatedly. Kaneko smirks at her again. I thought you didn't know what I was talking about. Tiamat blushes slightly and looks away again. I don't, she says simply. Kaneko smiles and leans into Issei again. Then you won't mind if I take him for myself. Tiamat glares at her. I want Issei too, Asia says innocently, making everyone turn towards her in shock. What the hell is going on here? Issei thinks desperately. This is insane dragons. Riaz mutters to herself as Akino giggles and Kiba gives up trying to figure out what is happening. Hihaha. Tiamat falling in love with my host. I never would have guessed. Didrag roars out while laughing. Tiamat glares at Issei's hand as he gulps. Kaneko quickly jumps off of Issei and under the table while the rest of the room face palms. DDRAIG. Tiamat roars out and punches Issei through the wall and into a tree outside. Asia runs over to the hole in the wall and sees Issei on the ground with stars floating around his head. Issei, she cries out and jumps out of the hole after him. Meanwhile, Tiamat is rubbing the back of her head sheepishly. The next morning. During all of our training sessions from now on you will be in balance breaker form as long as you can. Tiamat instructs Issei as she creates a barrier to conceal their presence. We'll adjust the weight of your clothes based on your limit. In that form he nods. He's currently wearing 300 pounds after the training camp. Whilst Dragon Balance Breaker, D-Drag yells out. His armor forms and his aura skyrockets. Good, now let's increase your weight. Tell me when it starts to get too heavy. Her hands glow at the same time as Issei glows and the weight begins to increase. Stop, Issei says as he sags forward under the weight. Not bad, Tiamat comments with a nod. You're up to 550 pounds, including the weight of that armor, which I assume weighs about 200 pounds on its own. She shifts into her fighting stance. Come, she says simply, and he charges at her. An hour later, Issei's armor shatters and he collapses to the ground exhausted. So your current limit is an hour in that form. Very good for your second transformation, Tiamat says proudly. We'll continue this training until you can hold it for a full day. He nods tiredly at her. After you reach your limit every day with your balance breaker, I'll be teaching you how to sense the aura of the creatures and objects around you. Once you get a grasp on that, you'll start to learn more advanced dragon magic. Issei stands up looking exhausted but determined. Tiamat smirks at him. Let's get to work. The end of the week. I wonder what Issei is always doing. He hasn't stopped by to have a spar with us at all this week. Kade says with a pout. Let's follow him after school, Murayama says and then blushes. Just to see what he's up to, nothing else. She quickly tried to explain. Kade grins at her. You sure that's your only reason? I wouldn't mind following him just to stare at him, she says teasingly. Murayama's blush grows and tries to respond but just keeps stuttering. I'm joking, Murayama. Let's just figure out what he's doing, she says, and Murayama nods slightly. A clearing in the middle of the forest. Issei walks up to the blue-haired woman that she saw Issei with the day they had a spar. Who's that? Murayama whispers to her while they are hiding in the trees. Issei said she's his instructor in martial arts. I met her a couple weeks ago. Cadis whispers back. Why do they need to come way out here though? I'm not sure, Murayama says as their bodies stiffen as a wave of energy comes over them, creating a wall of sorts around the forest. What was that? She asks with wide eyes. Before anything else can be said, another wave of energy flows over them. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. They hear an eerie voice call out as a red armor forms over Issei. Both of their jaws drop. What the hell is that? Cadis almost shouts. Murayama simply shakes her head in shock. They watch Issei and the blue-haired women disappear, and blasts of wind shake the trees around them. They both reappear and start shooting ice and lightning at each other. Is that magic? Murayama asks, still in shock. Cadis simply nods her head with wide eyes. They see the blue-haired woman charging a massive bolt of lightning, making their eyes widen in fear as she throws it at him. Issei. They both scream in fear, and Issei and the woman turn their heads straight at the two girls hiding, as Issei gets struck by the lightning and gets blown away. They both run towards Issei as his armor disappears and is unconscious. TCH, who are you, and why are you here? The blue-haired woman asks, annoyed. What the hell did you do to Issei? Cadis screams her. You could have killed him. If there was enough to kill him, he would have been dead over a month ago. The woman says while rolling her eyes. Who the hell are you? Cadis screams again as Murayama is trying to wake up Issei. My name is Tiamat, she answers calmly. And who are you two? We're Issei's friends. Why were you attacking Issei? Tiamat raises an eyebrow. We were training, she answers simply. What was that armor he was wearing? And was that magic? Murayama asks, still trying to wake up Issei. That armor is his sacred gear, a tool given to some humans by God of the Bible. And yes, there was magic. Why do you ask? Tiamat answers boredly. I'll probably have to erase their memories after this, she thinks in her head. And Issei has been learning to use magic. Why? Cadis asks with narrowed eyes, ignoring the part about God. This is insane. Magic is actually real. Because he's a part of the supernatural world, as you would call it. He became a devil about 2 months ago. Cadis and Murayama's eyes widen at this. 2 months ago. That was about when he started to change. I got my priorities straight, that's all. They both remember him say a couple of weeks ago. Cadis smiles softly as she closes her eyes. I've found something worth protecting again. She remembers the resolve burning in his eyes when he said that. So these devils are what he found to protect this time? Cadis asks softly, making Tiamat's eyebrow rise again. This time, was he like this at some point before? Cadis opens her eyes and looks at Tiamat with a smile. Yeah, he changed a few years ago into the perverted beast that most people know him as now. Before that he trained in kendo so he could protect his friends. She answers with a sad smile, making Tiamat's eyes narrow. What changed? Cadis and Murayama both glare at her. If you want to know, ask him yourself. It's not up to us whether he wants you to know or not, Murayama says heatedly. Tiamat nods and sees Issei waking up. Welcome back to the living, Issei, Tiamat says, smiling fondly at him. Issei opens his eyes and sees Cadis and Murayama, making his eyes widen. Cat, Mura, why are you here? He asks nervously, sitting up. We followed you after school, Cadis says with a glare. When were you going to tell us about all of this? I'll never, Issei says timidly, making them both glare darkly at him. And why not? Murayama asks through ground teeth. I didn't want you to be involved. Cadis hits him over the head. Idiot. Did you really think we'd never find out? She says with a pout. We worry about you, Issei. We don't want you to be alone anymore, she says quietly while looking at the ground. Issei looks at the ground, disappointed in himself for still thinking he can do everything without involving others. So you're a devil as well, Tiamat? Murayama asks her, making Cadis look up at her. No, I'm not a devil. She responds. Then what are you? Tiamat smirks slightly. I'm a dragon, as is Issei, though he is only part dragon. She answers, shocking them both. A dragon? They're real too. But you don't look like a dragon. Cadis screams out. Yes, girl. Almost everything you humans consider myth or legends is real. Gods, ghosts, yakai, dragons, angels, devils. The list goes on, and they all exist. She explains, shocking them even more. And here is your proof. Tiamat morphs into her dragon form and roars to the heavens. What can you do with magic exactly? Murayama asks, slightly in fear of the massive blue dragon towering over them. Just about anything. It all depends on your imagination, really. You can heal, destroy, command the elements, reinforce your body. So much more as well. Tiamat answers and reverts to her human form. Why am I actually answering them? I'm just going to erase their memories anyway. She trails off, noticing the determination in the two girls' eyes, and quirks an eyebrow at them. Can you teach us how to use magic? Cadis asks, shocking Issei and Tiamat. If it'll make it so I can help Issei, I'd do anything, she says with a small fire burning in her eyes. Murayama nods with a similar fire in her eyes. Issei closes his eyes and wipes away his unshed tears. Why do so many people want to help me? I don't deserve it. An image of one of his childhood friends tied to a post flashes in his memory, and he starts to shake. He feels two hands on his shoulders as someone pulls him into a hug. The memory disappears and is replaced by images of Tiamat, Kaneko, Asia, Cadis, and Murayama, along with the rest of the orc. Never again. I'll never let anyone take who I care about again, he thinks as he opens his eyes to see Cadis hugging him while Murayama and Tiamat have a hand on each of his shoulders. Cadis leans back and looks in his eyes and gasps in shock. His eyes hold a powerful determination as the flame she saw in his eyes before rages into an inferno. She blushes as he turns his gaze to her and smiles. Her eyes flicker to Murayama and Tiamat, who are looking at her smirking. Her face grows a devious grin, making them narrow their eyes at her. Hey Issei, Cadis says quietly, making him turn his attention on her alone. Yes, Cat? He asks with a smile. His eyes widen as she leans in and kisses him, wrapping her arms around his neck and pushing him on his back. He nervously wraps his arms around the small of her back and returns the kiss. Out of nowhere, Cadis is pulled off of him and he sees her pouting while being held off the ground by an angry Tiamat. What was that for? Cadis asks, still pouting. It was just starting to get good. She looks around and sees a depressed Murayama poking at the ground with her finger and muttering to herself. What's wrong with her? Cadis asks. Murayama turns and glares at Cadis. What just happened? Issei asks in a daze. Cadis smirks, still being held off the ground by a fuming Tiamat. I kissed you. That's all. Tiamat growls, while Murayama's glare increases. What's with you two? She asks nervously. You kissed him. Murayama yells at her. We promised that neither of us would make a move before he decides, she says while pouting. Cadis rubs the back of her head sheepishly. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Tiamat lifts her so she's face to face with her and narrows her eyes. Please, mind, Tiamat growls out, making Cadis's eyes widen in fear. What the hell is going on? First Kaneko, Asia, and Tiamat earlier this week, and now Cadis and Murayama as well, Issei says, confused in his mind as he notices Cadis smirk. Why don't we just share him? Cadis suggests before adding quietly so Issei couldn't hear. He deserves to be happy again. Tiamat and Murayama look at each other while turning red, and then turns to Issei, who is in shock. They both nod and smirk at him. All right, we'll share him. For now, Tiamat concedes as she puts down Cadis. He does deserve to be happy. He doesn't seem to have had much happiness in his life so far, she thinks sadly. You never answered us on whether you'd teach us magic or not, Tiamat, Murayama says, changing the subject. Tiamat looks at her curiously. I don't know much about human magic, she answers, and sees them both look disappointed. Show up at the old school building after school tomorrow. Maybe one of the others could assist you. They both perk up and nod at her before looking confused. Others? Who are the others? Cadis asks. Akino Hanjima, Kiba Yuudo, Kaneko Taoju, and Asia Argento. They are all devils, and members of Ria's Grimory's peerage, as is Issei. Tiamat explains as their eyes widen more and more with each name listed. Peerage, Murayama asks. It's a high-class devil's servants, if you will. Humans can be resurrected by a devil as a servant and fight for the high-class devil. Murayama and Cadis look at each other, then towards Issei. Can these servants have their own peerage? Cadis asks. Tiamat nods and smiles. Yes, but they have to work their way up to a high-class devil. They start out as low-class and have to earn promotions through either accomplishments, field promotion, or through contracts with humans. Tiamat explains. Issei, when you become a high-class devil, let me join your peerage. Cadis exclaims with a wide smile, shocking Issei again. Murayama nods as if saying she wants to join him as well. Why would you want to become a devil? He asks them, confused. Why not? Cadis answers with a shrug. I told you earlier, I'll do anything to be able to help you, she says with no hesitation. We'll never let you be alone again, Issei, Murayama says with a fond smile, still slightly glaring at Cadis. You're not alone anymore. Kaneko's words play in his ears and he smiles at them all. Thank you, he mutters softly while his eyes water. No, I won't be alone anymore. In front of Issei's house, Issei invited them all over for dinner for the night. Cadis and Murayama excitedly agreed since they haven't seen his parents in years, and Tiamat accepted so she could finally meet them. On their way they ran into Asia, who joined them on their trip home, all of them talking about the supernatural world, which surprised Asia that they knew about it. As they approach the door to his house, he and Tiamat stop and narrow their eyes. This feeling, Issei thinks. Excalibur, why is that here? And what's this other feeling? It seems familiar, but I don't remember from where. Tiamat thinks as she pushes Asia and the other two girls behind her as Issei opens the door with his hand on the hilt of his sword. Mom, I'm home. I invited some friends over for dinner, I hope you don't mind. Issei calls out nervously. That's fine, Issei. Hurry and get in here though, you'll never believe who showed up. His mother calls out excitedly, making him confused. They enter the living room and see two girls sitting on the couch, one blonde, and one blue-haired girl with a patch of green with a large bundle wrapped in cloth. He looks at the blonde and his eyes widen. Irina, he asks as he smiles. She smiles at him widely. Issei, you remember me? Irina says happily. It's been so many years since I've seen you, so much has changed. Her companion's eyes narrow at him. Quite a lot from what I can tell. The blue-haired girl mutters before looking at the girls with him. By the way, your parents kept avoiding answering my question, so how has Lefay been? Irina asks with a wide smile which falters as she sees his own smile disappear and Cadis and Miriama's faces draining of color. Huh, did I say something wrong? She asks confused. Lefay, she died a few years ago. Issei answered and grips the hilt of his sword tighter. He barely noticed the gasp from Irina as she starts crying. So you've come here chasing the Excalibur fragments that got stolen? Riaz asks with narrowed eyes before sighing. Why are there so many events happening in my territory? Yes, a couple of weeks ago 3 of the Excaliburs were stolen from the church. The thief fled to Japan, in this town. Zenobia explains. Do you know who stole them? Riaz asks. The Grigori, or more accurately, the Cotter-class fallen angel, Cockabeel. Zenobia says, shocking the room silent. The church sent 2 teenagers against Cockabeel. Do you two have a death wish? Riaz exclaims and Issei's eyes narrow. Yes, Zenobia states bluntly, surprising them again. If we can die in duty to our Lord, there's no greater honor out there. Irina nods besides her, but her normally cheerful self is gone and she looks devoid of emotion. The teachings of the church are as insane as always, Riaz says while shaking her head. Why have you come to me, though? We're here to tell you not to interfere in the battle. Zenobia says. Do you believe that we would side with the fallen angels? Riaz asks with narrowed eyes. Zenobia nods slightly. The higher-ups believe it is possible, so we were orders to tell you to stay out of this. Riaz looks irritated. As the sister of Amau, I would never side with the fallen angels. You need not worry about us stopping you from collecting your Excalibur fragments. Riaz sighs again. Do you even have a chance to win? Do you have some kind of trump card or something? She asks nervously. If they fail, this could easily start another war. We'll have to find out on our own. Zenobia says with an arrogant smirk. Tiamat snaps her fingers. That's the aura I am feeling. You're the wielder of Durandal, are you not? She asks and smirks when she sees the shocked look on their faces. Just so you know, Durandal won't give you certain victory against a Cotter-class fallen angel. You are simply too weak to be able to handle him. Zenobia's shock turns to anger and growls at Tiamat. How the hell would you know? Your aura feels like a child's aura. Tiamat raises her eyebrow. You do know of aura suppression, right? If I released my full aura around you, you'd probably fall to your knees or pass out instantly. Tiamat says calmly as if dismissing her. TCH, I highly doubt that. Her eyes widen as Tiamat releases a bit of her aura, causing Zenobia and Irina to break out in a sweat and shaking slightly. T told ya, I'm still standing. Calm down, child, this is only 5% of my full power. You have no chance against me, so do not even try. Tiamat says and turns back to Issei. I'm heading home for now. We'll continue training after school. Seeing Issei nod, she vanishes in a magic circle, leaving them alone. Who exactly was that? Irina asks Issei. He looks at her still with vacant eyes from last night. That was Tiamat, the Chaos Karma Dragon. Issei answers quietly. She's my familiar. Zenobia visibly pales while Irina chokes on air. I just haunted one of the Dragon Kings. Zenobia nearly screams. Irina composes herself faster and grabs Zenobia's arm and starts dragging her out of the room. Thank you for agreeing to let us do this on our own. We'll be leaving now. As soon as they leave, they all see Kaneko in front of Issei, sniffing him with narrowed eyes. You smell like that kendo girl, she says accusingly. Issei looks at her warily. She came over for dinner last night. Is something wrong? He asks her. Asia pouts cutely next to him. Kat has kissed him yesterday. Asia says, shocking the rest as Kaneko's eyes narrow more. None of them notice as Kiba leaves. Mind, Kaneko says and grabs his arm, dragging him out of the club room, shocking the rest further. Why has everything been so complicated since Issei came around? Riaz mumbles while rubbing the bridge of her nose. By the way, Tiamat said Kades and Murayama should be coming by after school today to talk to you about trying to learn how to use magic. Asia says and she starts chasing after Issei and Kaneko. At lunch with Issei and Kaneko, Issei as usual is reading under a tree eating the lunch Asia made him. Kaneko however is sitting next to him holding onto his arm possessively. This is what Kades and Murayama see as they arrive. Hello Issei, Cadiz calls out as she goes to tackle him. Kaneko though caught her and threw her away. What the hell was that for? Cadiz yells at her. Issei's mine, Kaneko says quietly, glaring at Cadiz. She pouts and looks at Kaneko. No fair. I may not be a devil yet, but Tiamat, Murayama and I agreed to share him already. Cadiz says, making Kaneko's glare also turn to Murayama. Kaneko hisses quietly at the girls until Issei rubs her head, causing her to purr. Be nice, Kaneko. Kaneko nuzzles into his side comfortably and closes her eyes, making the other two jealous. We'll be coming by the club room after school today, Issei. Do you think your devil friends will be willing to help us? Murayama asks. Kaneko opens her eyes slightly at that. I'm not sure, but I don't see why not. Issei shrugs. Murayama sits down on the other side of Issei and leans her head on his shoulder. Why do so many girls like me? I don't deserve any of them. He thinks with a sigh. Hey, Cadiz shouts. That's not fair. You two took the only spots next to him. She pouts. Oh well, I took his first kiss anyways, she says smugly, making the other two glare at her. After school, orc room. So let me get this straight, Ria says while rubbing her temples again. You two want to learn how to use magic. Cadiz and Murayama nod while glaring at Kaneko sitting on Issei's lap. Why do you want to learn how to use magic? I want to protect Issei. As I am now, there's nothing I can do to help him. Cadiz answers, still glaring at Kaneko. We couldn't help him in the past, so we promise to always be there for him in the future. Murayama continues on. If he's going to have supernatural enemies, we need a way to be able to combat them ourselves. Riaz looks back and forth between the two and sees the determination in their eyes before looking at Issei. So many people who want to get stronger just for this one boy. What is it about you that draws them in, Issei? She wonders before smiling. The future will be interesting at least. Maybe I should ask my brother if he could help me train this summer. Akino, it's your choice whether to teach them or not. You know more human magic than I do. Akino nods at Riaz and tells the two to follow her to begin their training. Tiamat appears after a while and takes Issei with her. With Issei and Tiamat -2 hours later, Issei collapsed from their spar using Balance Breaker. Over the last week he managed to double his limit in Balance Breaker and learned a lot in terms to sensing his surroundings. We'll start moving on to more advanced dragon magic now. Until now, you've mastered ice and lightning magic separately, but now we're going to work on combining them, Tiamat says before holding her hand out and an icicle forms sparking with electricity. The electricity inside of the ice will increase damage output, as well as stunning your enemy, giving you more openings for attacks. The icicle melts due to the electricity in it. That is what will happen if you use too much electricity when combining the two elements. Once you can manage to merge the two elements together without the ice melting, you'll be learning how to increase the size of your spells, and then compacting the power of those spells to make them as small as possible, with the same power behind them. With Kiba, random alleyway. Kiba is glaring at a man running away down the street. At his feet is a sword radiating holy energy and a severed arm. Now how do I destroy this thing? Kiba mutters as he takes his shirt off and wraps it around the handle of the blade. I'll figure it out later. He drags the sword behind him back to his house, never noticing someone grabbing the severed arm. With Akino, Cadiz and Murayama. Now that you have unlocked your magic, what type of magic were you planning to learn? Akino asks in a proud tone. In only 2 hours they managed to unlock their magic. I was thinking of taking after Issei and learning all I can from different types of magic. Cadiz answers with a smile. Murayama sits there thinking for a few minutes. I'd like to learn reinforcement magic. I'd rather stick to the skills that I know already and advance them as far as I can bring them. She finally answers. Very well, I'll only be teaching you the basics though. From there, you're on your own to advance your skills. It will be hard work, so be sure to practice every day. Akino tells them. Okay. The both answer with wide smiles. One step closer to Issei. They both thought at the same time. With Ravel. As soon as Ravel woke up in the hospital, she was surrounded by the rest of her family. They were all disappointed in her for letting Razor convince her to lie about getting over her fears. Razor woke up a couple days after, and she was immediately traded to her mother's peerage. She watched the replay of the rating game, and was amazed watching Issei's will to protect his friends. He pushed himself out of a panic attack because his friends were in danger. He unlocked his Sacred Gear's Balance Breaker to save them. Razor and Issei were nearly evenly matched with each other. Razor ended up the winner of their fight due to his regeneration ability, even though Issei refused to give up, and tried to keep fighting even when he could barely move anymore. She watched her panic attack, that the entire underworld saw. She felt pathetic. They both had a panic attack during the rating game, but Issei fought it off, whereas she instantly gave into it and lost. I'm pathetic. The fire was nowhere near me, and I still lost it. She looks up at the screen to see it paused on Issei struggling to stand up with Tiamat standing in front of him and her brother out cold in front of her. The pure anger in her eyes directed at Razor is suffocating. You're pathetic. You'd attack him, even when he can't even fight anymore. You disgust me. Tiamat's words rang through her ears. She always looked up to Razor as being a great man and brother. Tiamat's words echo harshly through her head, changing everything she thought about him. He was going to kill someone in a game, just because he feared them. Ravel's eyes start to water. Issei is amazing to have been able to take on my brother. He even pushed back all of his fears to do it. Maybe I can be like him, push past my fears, protect what's important to me. Ravels clenches her fists and leaves her room to find her father. When she finds him, she stares straight at him with a small fire burning in her eyes. Her father looks back at her in surprise. I see you've made your mind up on something, Ravel. What is it? He asks with a smile at her. Daddy, can you help me get over my fear of fire and help me get stronger? She asks without breaking eye contact. His father's eyes widen in surprise again. Why do you wish to get stronger? I'll help you either way, Ravel. I just want to know why. He asks happily. My little girl is finally coming back out of her shell. Ravel smiles widely at her father. There's someone I want to thank for waking me up, but if I can't get past my fears, I'm not worthy to even stand in front of him. She answers honestly and clenches her fists again. Is this about that Issei boy? He asks her and smirks when he sees her blush slightly. Very well, I'll help you as best I can. But if you don't give it your all, there will be no point in it. We'll start small and work our way up to get you past your fear, he says as he sets his hand on fire and sees her start to panic. He goes to put the fire out before he sees her eyes harden in determination and forces herself to calm down, causing him to smile happily. I'll have to thank Issei myself for saving my daughter, it seems. With Lefei is currently sitting on a cliff watching the sunset, tracing the scars on her shoulders. Tears slowly fall down her cheeks before she feels a hand on her shoulder and looks up to see her brother sitting beside her. What's wrong, Lefei? He asks her with a sad smile. She shakes her head and looks back at the sunset. Just thinking about Issei again. I wish he was here with us, she says softly. I know it's hard, Lefei, but you need to move on. You'll likely never see him again. He tells her. I know I won't see him again. But why did he have to die? She asks him and doesn't notice his eyes widen. Die? Who told her he died? He wonders. Lefei, who told you he died? He asks slowly. She looks at him weirdly. You did, Arthur. You showed me the newspaper saying that 5 people died in that building with only 1 survivor. She answers while crying harder. There was only those 4 bastards with us in that building after all. I was the only survivor. His eyes widen even further. For 4 years she thought he died because of that paper. His jaw drops open even further. That means Issei probably thinks that she died as well. Shit, Arthur says before jumping to his feet, surprising her. Issei's not dead, you idiot. There were 5 guys in that building with the 2 of you. I got you out and took off before the emergency response teams got there. I left Issei out front to be found by them while I took you right to the hospital. Issei was the survivor, not you. They never knew you were even there. Her eyes widen in hope as she stares at him. What? Issei's alive, she mutters out in shock. I ran away because I thought I got him killed, but he survived. Lefei gets up and looks out at the sunset again and smiles with tears of joy rolling down her face this time. Issei, she mutters out with a smile. She turns to her brother and stares at him determined. I'm going back to Japan. Tell Volley he can take his group and go to hell if he doesn't like it, she says and starts to walk away before noticing Arthur following her. I told you before, Lefei, I won't let you go anywhere on your own anymore. I almost got both you and Issei killed 4 years ago. I won't repeat that mistake, he says strongly. Following Volley would have given me plenty of tough opponents for my blade, but my sister is more important to me than that. Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.